Okay, so we're here on Beat Built by Broser. I have my client Marc, who is in town, has been working with me for a little over a month.
Hey Marc, welcome to the Mecca.
Thank you.
Came down here especially to train with me today. And so I'm going to take him through a back and shoulder workout, show him some of my cool Merlin lifts. He wants to work particularly on tempo, making sure that his tempos are correct, and form. As you can see, he's already a very big guy who wants to get even bigger, so that's what we're going to work on. We've been trying to diet him down a little bit also to get him a little bit harder. And I'm also going to have, we had a request last week about a question involving lower to mid trap exercises. So while Marc is here and we're training back and shoulders, I'm actually going to have him demonstrate and talk you through a couple of those exercises. So it should be a great show.
Good to have you with us, Marc.
Thank you.
Okay guys, so what we have here is the first lower to mid trap exercise I wanted to show you. It's a seated, wide grip, high pulley row. And as you can see, he's pulling the bar elbows out as he comes to the top, and he's pulling mid to high on the chest. And by pulling high on the chest, he's activating mostly rear delts and the mid and lower portion of the back of the trapezius. As you can see, he's holding the squeeze for about 4 seconds on each rep because we're using spec training today. And we're on the peak contraction portion of the program. So he holds the reps for 4 seconds. And he's squeezing, keeping his chest high. As you can see, his traps are pushing out the back of his shirt because that's mainly what he's activating. Now he's not trying to contact the bar to his chest. The shoulders just don't go back that far unless you're extremely flexible. He's just going back far enough to feel that contraction and that squeeze in the mid to lower traps. This is a great movement. Give it a shot. So we're getting ready here for another mid trap to lower trap movement. This is something that I call a hybrid shrug and row at the same time. As you can see, it's partially a row as he's bringing his elbows up and back. It's a very short row, and at the top it's a bit of a shrug as well because he's also pushing his shoulders up as high as he can at the top. This is going to work that mid and lower trap area to give you a lot of thickness and depth in the back. I'm going to show you. So that's the area right there that we're working. Great movement. You can use a lot of weight to get this done. Keep your head down and just squeeze up as high as you possibly can, and you'll really nail that area. Okay, so here's another great mid-trap, low-trap movement. This is a Smith shrug done behind the back. The key to this movement is, number one, to lean your torso forward a little bit so you can get your glutes out of the way, otherwise the bar will keep contacting the glutes. And what he's doing is he's putting a slight bend in the elbows when he brings the bar up, almost doing a very little bit of an upright row combined with a shrug. He's also got his head leaned forward, so he's working these fibers right here, right on the bottom of the traps and the mid traps in the middle of the back. And this will give you a really good 3D effect in the middle of the back, especially for competitors doing back double biceps and standing relaxed at the back. It builds those traps out right from the middle. Give it a shot. Don't try to go too heavy, otherwise you won't get that full range of motion. Okay guys, this is another awesome movement. This really nails the middle portion of the traps. This is an incline shrug using dumbbells. We have the bench set to about 45 degrees. He's letting his arms hang completely straight. And what he's doing, he's actually just retracting the shoulder blades. So he's literally doing a mid-back shrug, the same as you would do standing. He's pretty much coming up and pinching at the top, getting a squeeze, and you can see right here in the middle back where we're looking to work. Again, building that 3D effect in the mid-back. So you want to work the traps at the top, of course, with regular shrugs, and then use all these movements to get the lower portion of the traps, and this one really nails the mid traps. Again, don't try to go too heavy, otherwise you won't get that full range of motion. It's already a short range of motion, so you don't want to shorten it more, and hold the top for a second and get a good squeeze.
All right, Mark. First training at Gold's, is it?
Yes, first training.
How was it?
It was wonderful.
Yeah?
Best training I've had ever.
So I want to talk a little bit about your journey, because you have some very interesting pictures. You came a very, very long way, and we're going to put this on footage. If you send them to me, that is. But you did a lot of work on your own, and obviously, you did a lot of work. But how did you find Eric, first of all? And did you ever work with any coach before, or was it the first time you actually hired a coach? Or
this is the first time I actually hired a professional coach, like Eric. And it was actually a Christmas gift from my wife.
Really?
Yes, and she kept telling me, like, you need to check this guy out, you need to check this guy out. And finally she got me the workout plan and the diet plan, and it's been the best ever.
That's awesome. That's an awesome story. How did she find him? Do you know?
She follows a lot of people on Instagram.
Okay.
And she came across Eric on Instagram. She started she liked him, started reading his posts, and she's like, this guy knows what he's doing. He actually has a clue to what's going on. You really need to keep up with
What a gift, huh?
Yes.
That's awesome.
I was officially a Christmas gift.
I know. You're the gift of giving. So tell me, you've obviously came a long way. You were over 300 pounds at 6'2", kind of out of shape, kind of like me, the same story as Ed. And so you lost a lot of weight, but how did Eric actually help you fine tune what you were doing already on your own? And tell me a little bit about it.
The one thing that helped the most was Eric put me on probably the perfect diet plan. The first week, I was telling my wife, like, I'm full all the time. I don't understand how this works. And the first week I lost 10 pounds, and I was like, how is that possible? It was incredible.
So you were not starving yourself. You were not like suffering.
I felt full all the time.
Nice.
I was just, and like I said, the first week I lost 10 pounds, and then every week after that I've just slowly been losing and losing and losing.
Because you're in really good shape right now. I couldn't believe the pictures you showed us. It's like, you look. How long have you guys been working together now? A couple months?
Eric, a couple months, yeah.
Wow. So now the second month you have to pay for it on your own.
Yeah.
The gift is over.
Exactly.
No more gifts.
Oh well.
But I'm worth it, right?
I know, that was a bait and switch, man. Now you're stuck with him, like me. It's been over 3 years now, and I'm stuck with him. All right, so talk to me a little bit about what that makes you feel to talk to, work with people like that, and obviously seeing the results on them.
Well, it's been great so far. Like he said, the first week with the diet, he was having some problems with it, and he was wondering, what is this guy doing to me? This isn't going to work. I'm so full. And I just asked him to trust me, and he did. And like he said, he lost 10 pounds, and now he's been losing, not like we're trying to lose weight particularly, we're just trying to define him and get more body fat, so he keeps getting more ripped. He said he never really saw his abs before, and now he can see them.
Wow.
So that's been the goal. Plus also, I've been teaching him a lot about the mind-muscle connection, which he never, at one point he actually revealed to me during this workout, he thought the mind-muscle connection was bullshit. He didn't even think that was true.
It's a myth.
Yeah, it's a myth. It doesn't matter. And now, through my training methods, giving him tempos to work with, he's always sending me videos to try to find out, is this tempo correct? And he's doing a great job. But as he told me earlier, working with me today is a whole completely different animal. Doing it in person, I think you've learned a lot of new stuff and gotten a different perspective on what I mean with these tempos.
Exactly. All your clients should come in and at least get one workout with you and see the difference, and actually, get the spot-on pointers when you're doing the exercise. Because I've got more blood flowing through my back right now than I think I've ever had in the past.
It's not the same. Most people Eric work with are from a remote location, obviously, and even me when I first started working with him, he would send me the workouts every day and all that stuff, and you can read it and you can do it as best you can, but to actually experiencing the training with him, like we have, is a completely different ball game. So yeah, if it is possible to come down here, it's always. We do the best we can through the videos, but even with the video and watching it and listening to what you're saying, it's not the same as actually you being there.
He said, he's now going to always hear me in his ear.
Yeah.
You know, saying the things that I say, slow down the tempo, squeeze.
Yeah.
I taught him to arch his back more during the end of back movements, things like that. So hopefully he'll be able to come down and do some more body parts with us in the future. And hopefully I'll last with him through the next Christmas.
Yeah. So Marc, were you kind of stuck at a plateau when your wife gave you that present from, you know, for Christmas with him? Did you feel like you were stagnant, or did you feel like you were still making progress?
You know, I felt like I was stagnant because of the whole diet thing. Because
Okay.
I was, to me, it was always a diet.
Yeah.
But it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change. It's something you got to change. And when Eric gave me the new meal plan, it was something I never tried before. And at first I was in doubt, but then the second week I was sold. I was like, this is working. This is what I need to do.
It's everything. Once you say it's you know, between, you know, the proper myocardio, obviously, the diet and the training, all that stuff kind of falls into place. You know, if you have all those three things together, it's not just one thing.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you can train as hard as you want and as effectively as you want, but if the diet is not on point, you'll never get the results you want, whether you're looking to build more mass or whether you're looking to get cut up. And now he knows the proper way of eating, and he's gotten used to it. And now he tells me now he went from being full all the time to now being hungry.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing. I mean, his
Building
metabolism
muscle.
is adjusted, and his body needs the calories, and now he's going to continue to lose body fat. And when he gets down to where he wants to be, I'll actually be able to add calories like I did with you, Dave, and he'll continue to add muscle and stay low.
What's the goal, Marc? I mean, now you must have like new goals in your head. What's the goal?
Well, I guess the goal for me is to do a show. I want to do a bodybuilding show. I want to
Try to get that low.
Yes.
Yeah, that stage look.
Because once you start going, it's like you want more.
It's
and you
addictive.
Want more, and you want,
I know. It's addictive.
Maybe a master's level pro here.
He looks young though. How old are you? Can I ask you?
I'll be 51 on Tuesday.
Wow, he's your age. Okay. He looks young. Wow, very cool. Keep it up, man. You're an inspiration. And then thanks for taking these little pictures. I think you can inspire a lot of people. And thanks for coming today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marc. Thanks, Biggie. All right, Merlin. What good question do you have this week?
So I got this question on Instagram actually, and although I already answered this gentleman, I wanted to also bring it to Ask Merlin here on the show. I thought it was a pretty interesting question, and he wanted to know, you know, he actually follows the show, you know, pretty closely, follows my pages, and he knows my writing about, you know, exercise tempos and different angles and the, you know, unique movements that I bring about, and he said to me, you know, he loves, you know, everything that I do, but he said, what do you answer to people when they say something about how, you know, 99 out of 100 pros don't pay much attention to tempo? You know, they use just, you know, the basic movements most of the time. They don't really worry about, you know, how they do their reps. They don't worry about if their form is that strict, and yet they have amazing development. You know, what would you say to people about that? And I think that it's a great question, because, you know, people wonder why. You know, they see a lot of the pros training in the gym, and they see them just throwing weights around. You know, for example, you know, like the way Ronnie Coleman would train or Branch Warren would train. You know, their form wouldn't really be spot on by any means, be very ballistic movements. So my answer to that is really the most important aspect of this sport happens to be genetics. It's just one of those sports that if your body is made for building muscle, you have the proper fiber type, the proper hormonal makeup, you're going to build muscle almost no matter what you do. And, you know, people who are professional bodybuilders, or especially, you know, the real freaks of the sport, some of them who made it to the pro ranks in just a few years, they have such superior genetics above most people. And it's just like an IQ thing, you know, like if somebody, you know, there's a very few people out there with IQs that are 160, 180, 200, but they exist, you know, versus the average person who, I don't know, is maybe 120, I'm not really sure. But that's the way it is. You can't really compare yourself, unless you're also a genetic freak, to professional bodybuilders. Because like I said, they could just almost look at a weight and grow. They are able to do a lot of things wrong and still build muscle from them. So the reason why I, you know, pay so much attention to tempo and form and these things is because most of us are average genetics. Obviously, some may fall a little bit on one side or the other. But if you're of average genetics, you have to take advantage of every single possible protocol in bodybuilding, as far as your technique, as far as diet, as far as supplementation, to grow muscle. And this is why we need to pay attention to the things that have been proven scientifically and in the trenches to build muscle, such as very, very strict form, so you're isolating the muscle that you're working and not working all different muscle groups at the same time, such as very, very slow negatives, slow positives, holding the stretch, holding the squeeze, all these different recommendations that I have. And we have to take advantage of all these things because our genetics, like I said, are not superior, so we have to do anything that we can to ignite muscle growth, and it's not that easy for the person with average genetics, especially after the first few years of training. Now, you may be able to get away in your first few years of training just as long as you're doing progressive overload, training a little bit more intensely as weeks and months go by. You're going to gain muscle, but you're going to stagnate at some point, and that's when my techniques really come into play. Another thing I want to point out is that a lot of the pros that you see in the magazines and the gyms are on a heavy, heavy dose of PEDs. Now, of course, there are a lot of people on PEDs. I actually know some amateurs who are 1/3 the size of pros who use twice as much, you know, but you have to remember that the pros are, you know, this is their sport. This is what they're paid to do. They make their money off of their body usually, whether it be through winning contests, whether it be through endorsements, working with supplement companies, doing photo shoots. So they're going to obviously take a little bit more risks than the general population when it comes to taking PEDs, and I have no judgment towards that. That's what they have to do. So you also have to remember they're also taking things that you may not be taking. So again, they have another advantage besides their genetics. So again, that's another reason to point towards why we need to do things in our training that is going to maximize the results. It's going to maximize recruiting as many fibers as possible. It's going to maximize fiber trauma so that the fibers have to come back bigger and stronger. So that is really what the answer is to the question. You can't pay attention. Obviously, if you have a favorite pro and you want to follow their training here and there, that's fine, but a lot of what they do is not going to apply to the average person. They usually use way more volume. They don't train as strictly. They can go with a lot heavier weights, lower reps or higher reps. Almost anything builds muscle. So the average bodybuilder has to focus their attention on what's going to maximize results for them, and that is paying attention to strict form, very careful rep tempos that will recruit muscle fibers, and of course, you know, proper diet that's right on the money. A lot of pros can get away with cheat meals and things that we can't, and proper supplementation for intense training and for recovery and recuperation. And that would be my answer.
That was a great question.
Yep.
Thanks, Biggie.